all of you for the pleasant event of a week in the introductory tour of Miss Universe Japan 2021, Juri Watanabe. The Israeli Innovation Ecosystem, and we will start with a short presentation about our organization, UIJ, and continue with the lineup of speakers who has a great impact both on the relationship between Japan and Israel, and those who have an impact on the sustainable food and urban agriculture innovation ecosystem. With us.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming in such a stormy weather. And thank you for lovely guest, Watanabe Julie, for staying for another week in Israel, for joining us for this adventure. I will shortly present you our organization, a network of entrepreneur women in Israel and Japan. Just a second. Okay. We are a network of entrepreneur women in Israel and Japan affiliated by, just a second, I'm sorry. We affiliated by Association of the Advancement of Japan and Israel Academic Cultural Relations, an NPO which I established in Osaka in 2014. New IJ is wishing to support and empowerment women from Israel and Japan to grow their business and passion to the next level. Together, we believe we can make more impact on the world and the people around us.
Superwoman.
Well, let's see what he will do in my defense. Every big presentation, I have him with me. Let's see what's going on the defense. They don't miss any online event. So we are more than 70 members. Yes, it's me. We are more than 70 members with 10 core members who's leading different projects. Our members include Japanese women who lives in Israel and Israeli women who lives in Japan. Israel, Japan, mixed roots, and women who have activities or interest in the relationship between Japan and Israel. I will present today only about 5 projects, and we have over 15 projects and another few projects that we wish to start, and probably after our meeting tomorrow we will come with a new plan for future projects. So one of our ongoing project is Win-Win Webinar. The Win-Win Webinars are a monthly online seminars to deepen our knowledge and insights based on lectures and experts and experienced people on set items. The main themes that are the relations between Israel and Japan, cultural and economy. The webinar alternates between English and Japanese every month, so we can have more people learn about Japan and Israel, and we put women in the front. So we have women talking about those relations, and it's open for everyone, from young age to older age, female or male. Here you go. From Planter to Plate is one of our flag projects. Actually, when we met in late 2019, we sat around the table and we decided that our activities won't be only for each one for itself, but we want to do some activities together. And we all agreed that something that we have passion about is sustainable food and urban agriculture. What? Okay, can we do that?
No.
Okay, can you do that here?
No.
Okay, you want to see? Look, בוא תראה צפתה. So for Planter to Plate was an idea, something we all felt connected to, and from that it became a huge idea, and then COVID happened, so we started with a summit, which had more than 200 participants over 2 days, 4 hours each day, and we had the leading companies, leading VCs, advocates, politicians, NPOs that leading change both in Israel and Japan. We find Israel and Japan as markets that can have a fruitful collaboration on those specific topics. We are developing a youth community for the age of 10 to 18. We already had 2 activities and we're planning many more. We have young leaders that are highly motivated to strengthen the relations between Israel and Japan through youth. We have an internship program. We have our wonderful interns that without them, all this operation wouldn't happen. From the Tel Aviv College, from the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, from Tel Aviv University, and we even have interns from Japan. We have collaboration with Tiger More, which is a company who introduce Japanese students that looking for internship programs abroad, but we do it more than just giving them an internship place. We have an online events to bring more students, not only to our organization, but in general to learn about the Israeli ecosystem and the Israeli possibilities for internships. We have collaboration with Alex Solution, which is a company that try to bring young adults that want to introduce the outside world to young adults in Japan, and together we're planning a study tour to learn more about the Israeli ecosystem in innovation and sustainability. And we have many future projects. We are working on a women empowerment program with the Tohoku Accelerator. We have a charity activities for women suffering from poverty, violence, and family problems. And we are putting all of our information of our knowledge on our SNSs. We work together with many organizations, and we are very, very grateful for every support we receive.
Okay, so now I would like to invite Hiroko Miwa, Miss Universe Japan National Director, 2008 Miss Universe Japan and Top 15 at 2008 Miss Universe. She would like to give some briefing.
Hi, can you hear me, everyone?
Yes.
Hi, first of all, big congratulations to Juri. I couldn't be so proud of you. You did such an amazing job, and I cannot wait to see you at airport. I'm gonna have Japanese flag and waiting for you, okay? And you look gorgeous tonight. And second of all, great meeting you, everybody. I wish I could be there, but because of new COVID, I couldn't get to Israel this time. And thank you very much. Big thanks to our new IJ team, Hada-san, Naomi-san, Tomoko-san, Shira-san. That is ever since last minute, you ladies are like super women. I mean, like all the stay, Juri had great time. I was so comfortable that this Juri was on you guys' hand. Thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to one more person I could see just before, Abi-chan, the national costume designer. Abi-chan, thank you very much for everything. you are Juri's big brother, and I think you treat Juri like a princess. I'm not sure how I can treat Juri when she came back to Japan. But I'm very happy to have you as a Japan team, and Juri did such a great job because we were there with her. Thank you very much. So, and so enjoy tonight, everybody, and yeah, I really hope that I could be there tonight. Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite Mr. Takahashi Shichiro, Minister Deputy Chief of Mission. Takahashi-san, the stage is yours.
Shalom. I'm sorry for my party group. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and it's great to see you again. Juri-san, you did an excellent job, and thank you very much for the invitation to send me to this very unique and very important gathering tonight. My name is Takahashi, Charge d'Affaires at the Japanese Embassy. Before my arrival last October, I was told back in Japan that I would never get bored here in Israel once you got there. And it is true, actually. You have never bored me during my stay since then. To celebrate, Juri-san, the arrival of Miss Universe Japan here in Israel, I think it'll be first time such day. Was already exciting to me, but it's simply unimaginable to have another opportunity already, here in Tel Aviv, to get reunited with Juri-san, together with his distinguished guests, local Israeli Japanese leaders, entrepreneurship and association, get connected with each other, our ties, especially in the area of innovation and the women's leadership in the world. This special time, next year we will celebrate the 70th anniversary of the establishment of the bilateral and diplomatic relations between the two countries. Japan was actually one of the oldest friends of Israeli people to recognize the state of Islam. And I believe, we are evolving into another stage of the development relations, which should, I believe, should be carrying more strategic nature to each other. And this evolution has been obviously driven by the business relations. And for the last 7 years, the volume of the investment from the Japanese side to Israel has been increased by 7-fold. And the number of the Japanese companies having laboratories, factories, any kind of offices here in Israel has been also increased to the almost 3-digit numbers. And on top of that, geopolitical and geo-economical changes created by the Abraham Accord will open another window of opportunity for such businesses and entrepreneurship. So there will be no such time for worrying you and us in the bilateral relations for the future. And I do believe the power of women will play a very important role in this never-ending story of the evolution of the two countries. And our embassy is here, always here, to help and assist you to materialize these spirits and ambitions. Thank you very much. And we will take our
Thank you, Tahasano, for your greetings and your kind support to our organization. So next, I would like to invite for greeting Advocate Zev Weiss, the Israel-Japan Chamber of Commerce Chairman and President of the Korea-Israel Business Council, and Advisory Board member of Venture Capital Fund, and member of the Israeli Council of Foreign Affairs, Israeli Forum.
Thank you, Kira. His Excellency, Deputy of Mission to Israel, a newcomer to Israel, Takahashi-san, Taka-san, the commercial attaché of Japan to Israel, Miki Khaimovich, who joined us this evening, and we are very happy. We know that she's doing a lot of important things. The cultural attaché, Yoshi. We have many dignitaries. It will take half of my speech. And of course, Watanabe-san, which I meet for the second time already. Dear fellows, dear chamber members, board members, fellow speakers, and dear participants. First, allow me to thank the new Japan-Israel organization for inviting me to speak as the chairman of the Israel-Japan Chamber of Commerce and Friendship Association. This event is really unique in some ways. First of all, after almost 2 years, we have a Japanese visitor to Israel. This didn't happen, and I don't know if you see the pain on the faces of the people who are here. All of them are really suffering from the fact that there are no Japanese visitors to Israel. The fact that Japan sent such a beautiful lady is really the kind of cool wind that allows us to satisfy a little bit our thirst for Japanese visitors. It is also an event which is created by women. And you know that women in the arena of Israel and Japan are not so, is quite rare. Japan society, Israeli society also, so it's really something meaningful that we have here a women organization that is organizing this event and the whole week of Watanabe-san. And this event is, I understand, is a summer of a week in which this group led Watanabe-san in the trail of the food of Israel. And it is true that, you know, food, when we talk about food these days, it's also innovation and high-tech, but it's much nicer when you talk about food than semiconductors or medical devices or all kinds of other things. So when you talk about innovation and high-tech in food, wow, we love it. And I would say that our chamber, of course, is promoting all the sectors of the Israeli ecosystem. including medical and semiconductors and everything, but without, discrimination, we like to promote food very much. Especially when our role model is Japan with its tasty, healthy, and beautiful food. In general, 2021, as well as 2020 and 2019, were very favorable to the relationship between Japan and Israel. Without making you tired with figures, I would generally say that each year doubled the previous year in these COVID years. And when I'm talking about doubling, we talk about billions of dollars. So this is really an amazing development in the Israel-Japan relationship. And this trend did not surpass the food industry. If I take just a few examples of the food industry, I would take, for instance, Ajinomoto. Ajinomoto is one of the biggest food companies in Japan. They invested in an Israeli startup called Inoman, which develops mankai, which is a kind of a superfood. And this is, again, an example of the food industry in Japan, very, very sophisticated, finding in Israel a response for something they believe can work in Japan. Mitsubishi Corporation, they agreed to partner with Israel's Aleph Farm. Aleph Farm is laid the groundwork for bringing lab-grown beef to Japan, where demand for meat is growing. Japanese agriculture equipment giant, Kubata, announced that it will partner with Israel leading innovation hub, Kinneret Innovation Center. So this is just to name a few examples. Which reminds me, by the way, that food does not go one way, it goes also from Japan to Israel. You know, some 25 years ago, when the first Sogo Shosha trading company came to Israel, the general manager who was supposed to come to Israel called me and he said, "Are there any Japanese restaurants in Israel?" And I said, "No." And he said he's very happy. And I asked him, "Why are you happy?" He said, "Because if I'm going to a country where there's no Japanese food, I get higher salary." So this is what happened 25 years ago. Now, of course, Takahashi-san, no way you will get an extra salary because there are so many Japanese restaurants in Israel. So it seems a lot of good news. But these days, all of us here are very, very disappointed that Japan again closed its gates. You know, November was an opening, kind of, a window, and then the Omicron came and Japan closed again, and we cannot travel to Japan, and Japanese are not traveling here, except for the courageous Watanabe-san. And but we come out of this evening optimistic because Watanabe-san will go back to Japan and she will be our ambassador, goodwill ambassador for Israel. By the way, next week we'll have a board meeting of the chamber and we'll plan the events for the 70-year between Israel and Japan. We plan a lot of events. And in January, we plan to have for all of you, for the members, a webinar with our ambassador in Japan, Gilad Cohen, who will reveal some of the work that has been done of what is feasible and potential in the relationship between Japan and Israel. So, sorry I took too much of your time. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening.
Okay, so now I'm honored to invite the former Knesset member, Ms. Miki Chaymovich, to be here with us. We had an opportunity to have you in our previous seminar, P2P, Plan to the Plate Center. Miki is an Israeli television presenter, remarkable journalist and politician, served as a member of the Knesset from 2019, and a true influential environmentalist.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Erev Tov, distinguished guests. I will not go through all the names. I'm very happy to be here with you tonight, and I was happy to be part of the webinar on March when I was still in the Knesset. Tomorrow, by the way, it's 1 year since this very famous night that was the end of the last government. I was a part of it. Anyway, first I want to congratulate you, Watanabe, for making it to the 16th of 16 Beauty Queens. I heard that during the past week you met with the top leading innovative companies here in Israel, and I'm so glad you did it, because there is no doubt that technology has an impact on all levels. But another aspect of leading a change is through social advocacy, and I want to talk a little bit about that. There are many ways to be a social leader. In my journey, I left a very promising position when I was the anchor woman of 19 News for almost 18 years here in Israel, to pursue my dream for a better world for my kids, my grandkids when I have them, and for all the human beings on the planet and all the animals on the planet, because I'm vegan for many years, vegetarian for many years, and I really, this is my passion. You're in a position of influence, and so I think that me and all of us here, we encourage you to knock on every door, politicians, social leaders, media, and the public arena, and talk about the need for a change. You have the power, it's in your hands. This is what I'm trying to do, to take my fame and my position and all my connections to try and do a better place for our kids. This is exactly what I did when I decided to bring the Meat is Monday campaign to Israel. It's a campaign that tries to convince people to eat, to reduce their meat consumption. People in the beginning didn't understand what kind of an initiative it is and why it is so important to reduce the meat consumption. But in the end, I think that we saw a huge move from meat eaters to plant-based food due to the Meat is campaign here in Israel. Meat is Monday became really something that was a leading campaign in Israel to change people's behavior, and I think it's one of an example that we used to say you put a foot on the door, you make a small change, and then it will bring to a bigger change. And I think this is something that really concerns environmental changes. We can't fight the climate crisis without a change towards sustainable food. One of it is, of course, reducing the meat consumption, but there's a lot of other aspects. We have so many options for better food for the planet, for our health, and for better agriculture. This year, you have the public title, and you have the power really to do the change. And we are here. I think everyone here is to help you. We already started. Last and not least, New IJ. I'm really glad that I met you. And I think you are doing a tremendous job. And I really believe in the power of women. This is something that we connect in a different way. And I think we manage things in a different way. And I think that if women were on top of the world and like as leaders, we would be in a different place. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Mickey, for this inspirational speech. Now I would like to invite Mr. Arya Kutz, architect and urban planner, graduated master's degree from Tokyo Institute of Technology, establishing partner at Nir Kutz Architect, as well as Studio Landscape Architecture, chairman of the Israel-Japan Friendship Society, 2016 recipient of the Order of the Rising Sun Medal from the Japanese Empire.
Thank you. I was asked to quickly and shortly introduce urban agriculture. So please allow me a few minutes on that topic. And again, from the perspective of an architect, from the lens of an architect. So our buildings can be and already are platforms for growing vegetation. We have green roofs, green walls, or I would rather call them living roofs and living walls. Actually, one is almost visible from here. The Checkpoint headquarters building is a huge, and you saw it today, as a huge green wall, as a sun screening towards the eastern facade. Why do we do that? First of all, green gives us all joy. I'm sure you are familiar with the hypothesis of biophilia. It gives us comfort to our souls, and it reduces the CO emission. It reduces the energy consumption of buildings, and it gives us nature in the city. It gives us biodiversity in the city, and it creates places that are relatively protected for all kinds of wildlife, okay, urban wildlife, but still, you know, alley cats that we have a lot of in Israel are a huge enemy of great parts of our biodiversity, and putting these on the roofs or on the walls does create a safer haven for a lot of species around the city and enriches our life and our nature. Now, being that a large framework of greenery, it could be also a platform for agriculture. Why agriculture in the city? Well, we are making our cities more and more dense. We build more and more cities. The world has gone into a huge scale of urbanization in the last decades. We have less and less land for agriculture, more people to feed with less land, becoming a problem, and distances get farther, and we spend more energy to bring food into the city. Now we can and should produce food in the city. It will give us green. Again, will do all the things that I was talking about, green walls and green roofs, and will supply food for the city dwellers in a very short circuit of supply. You know, the restaurant downstairs can get its vegetables from the rooftop. So all of this is really happening. We have many examples all over the world. Japan is doing it for a while. Examples in Israel, and we have a very developed agricultural background that we can learn from and use in our buildings. All this is really giving us a green landscape in the city. And then one more department of the issue is really agriculture as factories. We have these happening all over the world. We can produce agriculture in dark rooms and dark places, of course, with the light, with the right light, and it's happening all the time. Very compact and useful little factories for agriculture are happening already all over the place, from the size of containers, shipping containers, producing tons of lettuce a year, etc. And like one more final horizon, we are still building a lot of parking spaces in our cities, usually underground. Very, very soon, a decade, maybe a second decade from now, all our traffic will change. We'll have autonomous cars driving around, very busy all day, using much, much less space for parking. And then what are we going to do with all these basements? That's the time we'll start to produce food down there. So something to look forward and utilize the knowledge that we do have in Israel. Thank you.
Thank you for this interesting short talk and your support for our organization, especially in this project. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Ms. Noah Sher, the CEO of Entity Israel. Noah Sher is the first woman to become a CEO of a Japanese corporation in Israel. She served as economic chef in the Embassy of Israel in Tokyo, and her contribution to Israel-Japan business relationship while empowering women both from Israel and Japan is enormous.
Thank you, Sheila. So, Zev, you were wrong, because there are many women in the Japan-Israel arena. And just a year ago, the embassy of Israel in Japan was dominated by females. So, and I hope to see many more female dominating this Israel-Japan arena. The new IJ organization has done an amazing job doing that, promoting relations. And what we saw here with Adas and her baby, this is just one example of how women can overcome all obstacles and really find a way to balance family and career. I had a great time with Juri-san this week, showcasing some areas that were neglected before, such as the femtech area that was not invented just a few years ago, with so many solutions that are relevant for women that haven't been on the market before. Israel and Japan, I think Juri-san can really be our unofficial and goodwill ambassador. She really, I think, understands the synergy, the great synergy that could be created between Israel and Japan, and really how we complete each other's capabilities. Today at NTT, we're trying to do just that. So I don't know if you know, NTT is one of the largest Japanese corporations, around 50 on the Fortune 100, with about 350,000 employees, 989 subsidiaries around the world. And we are hoping to be the main focal point for NTT Group into Israel's innovation ecosystem and connect between Israeli startups and innovation stakeholders with NTT's business unit. So we're very happy to be here. We're only less than half a year old, and we're hoping to collaborate with all of you. So again, I congratulate you for a great success, and I hope all of us can really work and contribute to this great mission of empowering women in Israel and in Japan and creating this great synergy. And I thank you for having me here today and during this week. And Juri-san, enjoy, and I hope you have safe travels and a very easy and quiet quarantine time. And we hope to see you again here soon, because I really think that all of us can learn so much from you. Really. Arigato gozaimasu.
Noah, thank you for your great contribution to this industry tour and for being a member of New AJ. Okay, next I would like to invite Ms. Karmit Orono. Karmit is business leader with a proven executive management track record and over 25 years of experience in driving business growth. Today, as a CEO at Salicrop, she is focused on growing Salicrop solution, confronting the challenges associated with the climate change. Karmit is a co-founder at WMN, an Israeli community for women tech entrepreneurs designed to support women CEOs in their business challenges.
Thank you very much. I'm here on the ticket of empowering women. I'm privileged enough to do some projects, and I would like maybe to start with a video that presents Women of Agri-Food Nation competition. This is the second year. I hope you can also hear that. Yeah. But before we hear that, maybe I'll just tell you that we're a startup nation. We have more than 8,000 startups, but less than 10% are led by women. Actually more like 8%, which is, this is a startup nation. So there's so much to do in continuing in supporting women, in tech specifically, and to achieve the goal of making more women dive in and take the role of being CEOs. So if we can hear that now, we can stop and then continue later after we see that. This is the film we've made after this competition. About the winner of this year, Ifat Hammer, who taught me that the sky is the limit. Because if you saw her, she's disabled, and she came to this competition with a disability. When the first time I've met her, I've seen this disability, but after I've met her, I haven't seen that at all. She's an amazing woman, by the way, she called me 2 days ago. She's raised an enormous amount of money out of this competition. She's empowered, she feels equal, and she's successful. So this is what it should be. I mean, this is the way we've done that. So I'm super proud of this project. And today, I'm the CEO of Salicrop. We're actually changing the world by enhancing seeds to make them cope better with climate changes. And in this way, we empower farmers by getting them a better yield out of their degraded lands. So I'm super proud to lead this company to our next funding round, to our next vision. And I'm excited every day that I come into the office. And when I choose my employees, I always choose first to look at the next woman that is going to be with me. So definitely our chief scientist is a woman, my team of agronomists are all women, and I'm focusing on taking on project managers and people that I work with that are led by women. This is my role, this is my job, this is how I see it. Now I want to thank you for this opportunity to meet you, and I was super happy to see first that we made a great job out of those 4 weeks that you're here, because you're half Israeli, and you want to be an entrepreneur yourself. So I think we've done a great job by introducing this ecosystem, making you as a great ambassador. I think you're not only beautiful as you look, but beautiful personality. So thank you so much.
So thank you for inviting us. I'm Juri Watanabe, I'm business development and Tafim. It's a pleasure to talk about a topic close and dear to my heart, sustainability and women empowerment. The Tafim was the first company in the world to invent and commercialize the drip irrigation. So it's very precision irrigation, and today we're the #1 company in the world with over 200 registered patents. You visited our company, I think, on Friday. And also the Green Wall in Czech Post is our work. So it's one of our businesses as well, agriculture, urban agriculture. And so we design, we install, we maintain and operate agriculture projects, managing from a few hectares to thousands of hectares. One of our key strategic assets are our agronomists. So this is our brain. We're very proud of them. We have hundreds of agronomists around the world who help farmers take the right decisions, and we have transformed their brain into the digital solutions we are developing. So this is really the expertise and the reason why we are so proud to be such a hub of knowledge. The company is existing for 65 years, so it's almost hand in hand with the Israeli history. Our purpose, our promise, and I would even say our motto is grow more with less, and it's even more relevant today than ever. So more yield, more quality, more quantity, more consistency, more traceability, more cycles of crops around the year, more diversification of crops, and less water, less fertilizers, less chemicals, less labor, less energy, and less waste. So we do all that while we preserve the soil health. I will give you maybe two examples. I think you can even push it further. The government of Peru decided to put agriculture on their national agenda, and they decided to grow agriculture in the desert, which was an out-of-the-box thinking, and they actually brought the water from the mountains to the desert of Peru, and they grow agriculture in a place that was not meant to be growing agriculture. So the dry land of the desert is very healthy for agriculture because you have less diseases, and thanks to our technology they can grow a lot of food in a very sustainable way. Another maybe example is Israel, because we actually in Israel use more than 100% of the arable land thanks to the technology of the drip irrigation. And we use land that is not intended to be for agriculture, but we make it possible to grow everywhere in the world. What can I say more? Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah. So another thing about sustainability, I think, is that, sorry about that, I have my notes here. Two things about sustainability. Given the fact that one of our focus areas are smallholder farmers that are less than 1 hectare farmers, and they represent most of the farmers in the world, 90% of the farmers, and most of them are women in the world. So this is for us a very strong focus of the company since always. We have developed a lot of models. We are involved in many initiatives around the globe, and what we are very proud of is that thanks to this technology, women become more educated, they gain free time, they get expertise, they have more time for their family, for entrepreneurship, for their education, and they earn more money, so they reinforce their status as women. So all these are direct results of the technology we invented here in Israel. Another thing about sustainability in Netafim is that we are very much conscious about the waste and about the footprint, environmental footprint of our technology. So we actually recycle all of our products. Most of them last for 25 years or more, and afterwards we recycle them and they go back to the production line. So I would just summarize by saying that sustainability, women empowerment, I would treat it in twofold. One is externally, and the other one is within the company. Yeah, I got confused. I didn't know I would have, sorry for that. Within the company, I think we have today 4 senior vice presidents that are women in the company. We still have a long way to go, but considering the fact that this company was established in the kibbutz, and along the years, men have occupied most of the positions, the senior position. So we know that there is still a lot of work to do, and we are conscious about that, and we work to improve this. We gave a goal of 40% women in the management of the company. Yes, still where to go. Also, the sector is very much men-oriented sector. Except what we saw here just before, and it was a pleasure to testify. But most of the world, agronomists, farmers, big agro-industry farmers are still dominated by men. And so this is what we do internally, and externally, what we just said, it's about the sustainability that we have in our products, in the way we recycle our products, and in the fact that most of our activities are actually in the world are relevant and contributing to the sustainability development goals of the United Nations. So whether it's tackling food security, or reducing poverty, or women empowerment, or water conservation, or even combating desertification, what we do in Israel, in China, in plenty places, many places in the world, that we can push the desert thanks to green belts that we create around the world. And I think out of the 17 sustainability development goals, we tackle all of them, even the oceans. Don't ask me how, but there is a way. So it's one of our backbones. It's something we do as a business, sustainability, since 65 years ago. So it's very, I would say, relevant to this world today. And I would maybe summarize by the fact that in 2011 in Japan, after the disaster you had and the tsunami, and Netafim has donated a lot of hydrophonical systems to farmers that couldn't work and leave their land anymore. And has also a year ago, 10 years after the disaster, established and participated in the establishment of an education farm in a city that was severely damaged. And today I know the children from Japan can come and learn agriculture and sustainability. And so we always try to involve this kind of pro bono education, women empowerment everywhere we are in the world. So I think not only we are more beautiful, but we are more creative and more resourceful. And thank you for being here.
We are grateful for the warm welcome we received from you and Netafim on Friday. And actually, my mother was an organic farmer. Okay, so next I would like to invite Inon Dolev. Inon is the CEO of Sampo Digital Lab Tel Aviv, which is a regional innovation hub for Israel and Europe. His group is responsible for partnering and investing in innovative startups in areas such as insurtech, digital health, smart mobility, cybersecurity, agritech, and more.
Thank you. I'm going to be brief. Mr. Deputy Ambassador Watanabe-san, everyone, new IJ team, thank you very much for inviting me here. My name is Inon. I'm the CEO of Sampo's Digital Lab Israel and Europe activities. We're all about innovation to help solve Japan's biggest problems, such as aging, women's health, mobility, agritech, and many other things. Our employees in Israel, the majority are women, but it's not only about gender. We also have Arabs working together with Jews, people from the north, from the south, young and older, and it's all about co-creating innovation. Last week, we had the joy of hosting the Watanabe Summit, and I would like to share with you what I've learned throughout your visit. I've learned that Miss Universe is not only about beauty and appearance, it's also about wisdom and personality. We gave you a full presentation with many technical details, but the questions and the comments you made inspired all of our employees. And just following you on social media over the weekend, I don't think you may be able to grasp how many souls you've touched throughout the visit. And I think it gives you a good platform to go back to Japan
and be, as you mentioned, a self-appointed ambassador, because we have to be able to do more. It's been 2 years since we hosted executives or friends from Japan, and then UK. And with that, it actually kind of reinvigorated a lot of the spirit that we have here when we help and meet people in person. So thank you very much for that inspiration. And we'd love to be in touch with you in the future and help you in supporting your activities. And with that, thank you very much, guys, for the invitation.
Thank you very much for the insight and the lovely and inspiring and hospitality last week. Okay. Last but not least, I would like to invite our dear friend and our UIJ member, right? I'd like to invite Miss Universe Japan 2021, Miss Juri Watanabe. Watanabe-san is promising young social entrepreneur who advocates for mental health awareness. She graduated her MBA from the University of California and soon will start her executive program at Tokyo University as graduate student. Watanabe-san was one of the 16 finalists of the Miss Universe competition, putting Japan back to the map.
Thank you so much for coming tonight. I am a little overwhelmed by all the nice comments that you guys have been giving me. It's giving me also a lot of motivation to praise Israel when I'm going back to Japan. But first of all, I want to thank the UIJ team for allowing me to continue my journey in Israel even after the competition. And I also want to thank my dad and his family for beginning my journey in Israel. I don't know if you guys know, but my journey here started when I presented with Aviat the national costume at the ambassador's residency. And I would like to say it made headlines. And now I'm here standing, ending my journey here, but I think I've learned so much from the past month. And I really want to say that I am the luckiest Miss Universe Japan because the competition was held in Israel and I got to see the possibilities of Israel. I was just pleasantly surprised by everything that I've been seeing, everyone that I've encountered. This trip, of course, has been about me competing in Miss Universe, but I've gained so much more than that. I saw the possibilities of women, the possibilities of female empowerment. I also saw that the future is bright. You know, there are so many technologies here in Israel moving the sustainability agenda forward. And I also saw that the collaboration between Israel and Japan is going to be something that's going to change the world. I truly believe that. With the passion and ambition of the Israeli people and the heart, the samurai and Nadeshiko heart of Japan, I think we can change the world. And I am so excited to take the idea and back to Japan. Honestly, I'm very sad that I'm leaving tonight. I'm waiting for the invitation to come back here. So. But I'm truly excited to share my what I've learned here back to Japan, and I hope that I can make the Japanese people excited about collaborating with Israel in the future. And sorry, Ambassador Mizushima and Ambassador Cohen, but I would like to be the ambassador between Japan and Israel. I just want to thank you all for inspiring me to do better, inspiring me to be the social change for the future, for our future generation. It's been such an eye-opening experience, and I can't wait. I mean it when I say this, but I can't wait to keep our connections and keep collaborating and change the world together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juri-chan. Okay, so now I want to close this event with Naomi-san. Closing.
So finally, I want to thank you all for coming today in this already not stormy weather. We in UIJ are very honored to have such a supporting network to bring Israel and Japan while empowering women and make a positive impact. I would like to thank again to all the support we received from the most innovative labs in Israel, our crowd, and Stop Digital Lab, Mitsubishi, Arista Gora, NTT Israel. Noah-san, thank you very much for your special support. And Netafrim, Kinneret Innovation Hub, Tel Aviv College Fresh Start, Women in Agritech, and to Direct Insurance and Mitsui Sumitomo Insurance for inviting us to this beautiful venue of the Brain Embassy. And Oren, thank you for your professional support. We want to thank for Operation Sisters for the logistic support, Oshina and Okinawa for the lovely cultural evening, and Riki Kimura-san for the lovely hospitality, and Vysotsky for specialty experience. Thank you to Tampopo for the great food, to Yamabe Kedma for the sake, and Taizo for the drinks. Last but not least, thank you for all those who made this week happen. Miss Universe Japan Top 16 at 2021 Miss Universe, Juri Watanabe-san. Thank you very much. And a great event from Hebrew University, Tel Aviv University, and Tel Aviv College. Special thanks to new IJ members and their families. Thank you very much. And please take care to your way to home. Thank you very much.